Hello, everyone. Happy Valentine's Day. We are doing a meet and greet this morning from our barn.
Because the arenas are wet and it's
Yes.
been raining, so here we are.
We were going to do a rider position demo, but we got how many inches of rain? Like 6 inches of rain yesterday?
No.
It was a lot.
It was a lot.
It poured all day. So Miss Impatient here
is our new horse.
The newest girl on the block.
She got here a week ago, 9 days ago Wednesday.
Maybe you should come up here and say hi.
Oh. So she got here 9 days ago. Hi, Mimi. She still hasn't settled down. She's pawing a lot, a little loose with the manure, but it's all brand new. It's all brand new for her.
What's her name?
Name is Violina. She's 5 this year.
How tall is she?
179 centimeters.
How many hands is that?
It's like 17.3.
How tall are you?
I'm 6'4".
So she's a big girl.
Let me back up. And now I'm on a horse that we just look kind of average and normal. So here we'll knock that down. So we're just looking very average over here, the two of us.
And what have you been doing with her to get to know her, to help her settle in?
I've walked her around on the property. I've groomed her, extra stuff.
She likes her ear scratched. Show them how she likes her ear scratched. That seems to be her favorite thing. Remember the other day, weren't you like brushing her ears?
Yeah, I was brushing her ear. Yeah, I was brushing her ear, and she just did the twitchy head thing.
I think she likes that.
So obviously, with all the attention, then she stops pawing because she's like, "Ooh, we're okay here."
And this is her boyfriend, Mercurio.
Right, they live next door to each other, and they can touch noses in the stall.
And groom each other on the withers because. Violina, she came from Germany, and then they fly here, and then they have to go to quarantine.
And she was pretty much isolated. Well, it was longer than 2 weeks because the flight schedules changed so much. Anyway, so she had 3 days because it included Martin Luther King Day. So she spent 3 extra days in the quarantine because the first 3 days didn't count because there was no government offices open. So her 14-day quarantine was more like 17 days.
And she didn't get to have any friends in quarantine.
And she had no friends in the quarantine either.
Because they're not really allowed to touch each other. Do we have anyone watching? Say hello if you're watching.
We have 21 people watching, but I can't see the chat.
You can't see the chat?
Can they go on to Facebook to see the chat?
Oh, no. No, you should be able to see it. Keep talking to the crowd. Well,
so is Mercurio in the
side, like
vision there? See that? Well, we're happy about that. Anyway. She can lift her legs up. Am I on the camera if I turn back here and do my grooming?
You are now.
Okay, so I've been at this already for 20 minutes on her tail, but it's really important to just pick them out.
Yeah.
You undo the knots. No ripping, no yanking, no tearing, because then you'll end up with the thin little rat tail. Mama, it's okay. I was hoping she was going to be calmer with her neighbor, but she's still a little, and so this is quite tedious and boring, and it takes forever.
Everyone says congratulations, and she's the right color, which yes, all of our family horses are chestnuts.
So everybody was asking me, hey, when I was saying, oh, looks like we're going to get this horse, they're like, what color is it? And I would say, well, you get 3 guesses, but the first 2 don't count.
Yes. We like the redheads, apparently. I think it's on. Yeah, my mic is on. And you can tell she has lots of shoulder freedom.
Yeah, she does.
Perhaps we need to work on patience.
Yes. She's a little excitable still.
So
but the fact that she can get her leg up that high, that's good.
Yes. I mean, she'll have nice passage and nice extended trot. So that's Violina. This is Mercurio. Come, Mercurio, come forward. You can tell Mercurio is a lot smaller than Violina.
But he's like a normal-sized horse.
Yeah. And Mercurio is a PRE. He came from Spain. He was actually a stallion, and then his owner, Rita, gelded him before bringing him here to the U.S. And Mercurio, I think, let me know in the chat, but I think Mercurio is everyone's favorite video horse. We did the night ride with the lights.
With the lights, yes.
With Mercurio in December, which I thought that was really cool. And Mercurio is super nice to ride. Like, one thing about the PREs is they're known for being like very smooth and having good temperament. So he's really forward. He's nice in the contact. He's got just like a super temperament. He's really easygoing. Although I will say he's one of those horses that he can get hotter.
He works up.
Yeah, like he starts out kind of normal, and then sometimes he can get hotter and hotter as the ride goes on. So, you know, like all horses, you have things to work on. And when we got him, he was really dark. Like, he was really
he was
dark
steel gray.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so now he's gotten a little bit whiter over the
And what they
years.
say is that the horse's head will be, it's a year ahead of the body. So whatever his
he's,
head
like,
is doing,
pretty
whatever his
equal.
head is doing, the next year was how his body will look.
Yeah. So that's Mercurio. He's the best video horse. Hopefully, Violina will be doing some videos in the future.
Well, I've ridden her 3 times now here.
3 times?
I think I've gotten on 3 times. I
Yeah.
rode just twice of those 3.
But it's always important with a new horse to just, like, we're taking it really slow and easy. Like, you know, doing all the
stress.
groundwork.
Well,
you
because
don't
she's a
wanna
little
have
lacking on the groundwork.
Yeah.
She's a better riding horse than a groundwork horse, that we know.
And you don't want to have a bad experience, especially with like a giant horse, because then getting over that is going to take a long time. So, but it's fun. It's exciting to have a new one on the block for sure.
I know. It's time I got to get to work. Things to do.
Yeah.
Yes. Got to make her right.
Get ready for some shows this spring. That would
Okay.
be fun.
She's calming down a bit. There we go.
Yeah. She's going to be a video star, so she's got to start now and get used to the camera. So,
Okay,
should we
now?
get our next horse? Here,
Okay.
entertain them, and I'll go get Natasha.
Oh, is that Natasha?
Tell them a story. I'm going to get Natasha.
So I'll tell you the story of how she arrived. One of our clients was looking for a horse, and so we were off looking, but she's a smaller person. And she found a couple horses at this one barn, and this was one of them. And so she said, you know what, never mind, I'll pass. I'm not going to get that one. So I rode her, and she was lovely. And then she passed the vet check, and so now she's here. Oh, mama. All right, there comes Natasha. So I'll move her. We're going to swap out horses right now.
Are you taking her home now?
I'll take her home, and now you can get a pretty good idea how small she is.
Compare her to Natasha?
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
All right, I'm going to leave this on. I'll be right back.
Okay, so this is Natasha. Beautiful Natasha. And you may have recognized Natasha from, I did a Grand Prix freestyle with her. She's a Grand Prix horse. She's semi-retired now, I would say. She's actually in full to diesel. So you may, and obviously she's like, I want to go home. So you may have remembered Diesel, who's a Grand Prix stallion. And so Natasha is pregnant with Diesel's baby. She's still doing like exercising her. Like, we're exercising her a few days a week, but she's pretty much retired. Natasha is by Negro. So she's Negro Donnerhall, which is really, really good bloodlines. She was actually born here in the US. And then my client Karen found her as a 6-year-old, and she was already doing 4th level as a 6-year-old. So she's like incredibly talented. I showed her for several years in the Grand Prix, And I think her best move is her passage. She has like a really, really amazing passage. And she's, as you can tell, she's small. Like she's only 16 hands. But when she starts passaging, she like grows a hand and she gets so much taller and so much bigger. And I don't know about you, but black is my favorite color of a horse. So let me know in the chat what your favorite color is. But there's just something about black horses that they're just so beautiful, I think, especially for dressage. Do you have any questions, Kane?
Someone asked if Violina was started dressage, jumping, or both.
Oh, Violina, she was started mostly dressage, but they did send us a video of her in a jumping arena and they were just like cantering her around in 2 point. So I think, so she hasn't really jumped, but I do think that like good basics are good basics, kind of regardless of your discipline. I will say though, Violina, she's definitely built like a dressage horse. Like she's very short coupled, she's very uphill, so she's certainly built more like a dressage horse. Do you have any other questions?
No, just lots of comments on how much people love Grays and Mercurio.
Oh, people love grays. The only problem with grays is that they're so hard to keep clean. You couldn't really see it on the video, but Mercurio was like, he was filthy. Luckily, apparently the video camera was hiding that. We've gotten like a ton of rain over the last few days, so it's been like really, really wet for all of the horses. And so, yeah, gray horses are a lot to keep clean. You're back.
The great ones do get muddy. Hi, buddy.
Are you going to introduce that horse?
Jock is what, 13 now?
Maybe 12.
12?
Did you turn on your mic again?
I never turned it off.
Oh, all right.
I just kept quiet while I was away. And yeah, he's a little muddy too. He got a little wetted. And he came from Canada when he was what, 6, 8?
7 or 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
he's another one of our great video horses. And he's also a great horse for his owner,
Yeah.
Michaela. Like he has, I think, a super temperament.
Super temperament.
Super,
He's
really good
showing
temperament.
her how to ride. He doesn't get too upset when she does it wrong. And
Yeah.
he's really patient with her. So.
But that's important, I think, in a horse. Not every horse is a good, like a schoolmaster or a good caretaker. And so I think that you do have to like recognize that in horses. Like, for
you
example,
gotta match the horse to the rider. Right?
My 2 crazy chestnuts, Harvey and Kensington, probably not
Never
good
gonna teach anybody how to ride those horses.
But Jacques is.
Now, when you say amateur, there's amateurs and then there's amateur, right? There's people who are just
learning
don't know,
to ride.
they're learning. But I mean, amateurs that are, Grand Prix
really
riders.
Good, yeah.
I mean,
they could, yeah.
When we start to confuse amateur with a green rider, that does a disservice to everybody, the horses, the people. So,
but I heard someone explain it once as like cups of confidence. So if you don't have any confidence, like if your cup of confidence is empty, you need a horse that has a lot of confidence. Like Jacques is a horse who's like pretty confident and he knows his job.
And he doesn't get upset by much.
Yeah, Natasha too. She's actually a really good, like for beginners, she like really takes care of them. But if you have a horse like
Tico's a little, I mean, he knows a lot.
But he's a little more tense and
chestnut.
nervous. So he needs a rider that has like a little bit more confidence there. So, there's a question. Kane's raising her hand. Hey, Efren.
Jacques makes Natasha look very tiny. How tall is he? And what is Jacques' breed?
Jacques is Canadian, warm blood.
And what is he, 16'3"?
16'2", maybe?
Yeah. Just a normal size. Natasha's just not very tall.
Yeah. But she's mighty. Like when she starts passaging, she gets like a hand bigger.
And so the size, they go the way you ride them too. So Natasha with her passage was just spectacular. And she looked so much bigger when she was collected and moving that then the size was, now I can't ride her, let's not get nuts, but the size was not so much a factor when she was under saddle and going.
She's the sweetest girl. There's something about the smell of horses that's just like.
Yes, as
You're a good girl.
I was driving with my brother one day, and I was happy because of the smell, and he was less than happy.
But like their nose, it just has like a smell to it.
Yes, it does.
You're such a good girl, Natasha.
I
So
was
that's,
lucky enough to grow up with horses in the backyard, and all my brother recognizes with the smell is all the work that went along with having them in the backyard.
well, there's different smells associated with horses. Like there's a smell of steaming poo, and there's a smell of shoers, but then there's a smell of like
Just
their
them.
nose, which is so nice.
So
You're a good girl, Natasha. So those are those two horses. Should we go get more horses?
we can.
Do you want to go get Kensington for me?
All right, I'll take him back.
Yeah, take him back and get Kensington. So a little bit about our barn here. This barn is really big. There's
It's
like
20 acres.
20 acres and like almost
It's a 20-acre square. It's actually basically a perfect square. It's 20 acres.
and we have almost 100 horses here. Like
No,
not
100
us.
stalls,
100 stalls.
but there's only like 60 horses.
Only 60 horses apparently. Used to be 90.
Right, with the other owners.
Anyways, so there's a bunch of different barns. So like this back here is one of our tack rooms. There's another tack room
No sé.
back behind the camera. Then the main arena where we ride is up that way. Then we have 2 jumping arenas down that way. Kensington, Harvey, Jacques, Natasha all live in this direction. Violina and Mercurio live in that direction. There's some like kind of their half outdoor stalls. This over here is the show barn, so it's mostly empty, but it's open for if people want to come and take lessons or when we have a show. There's a total of 5 arenas here and 5 trainers. So it's an awesome barn. The horses love it here. There's a lot for them to like go around and see. There's a lot of different arenas to ride in. And I think it's just like a very horse friendly place. But it is a bit of a maze, and whenever people come here for the first time, they get lost. Like they don't know the way back to the parking lot or to the arenas. So it's it's a little bit of a maze, but it's cool because there's a lot of different options. We have turnouts down there. We have grass pastures back here. So it's a great barn and a lot going on. So that's a little bit about the setup. Are there any more questions, Kane?
Pero vení, no, a ver si vamos a buscar otro.
Yes, our favorite color horses. Yes, liver chestnut, black, gray.
Well, my favorite color is good gaits.
Yeah, or how about my favorite color is a good temperament. Si quieres, lo puedes llevar a Natasha para atrás y traer a Harvey. This is Efren. Wave at the camera.
Efren makes it all happen here. He shows up every day, sick or not. He is here, and he's looking out for the horses. So.
Okay, any guesses? Who's this one? Huh? Who's this one? This is the shy one.
You got a 50-50 shot because it's either him or his brother.
We
right?
have twins. What hint should we give about this one? He's shy. He's fancy. He has a triangle on his nose.
He's only got 2 white socks. The other one's got 3.
He's red.
Well, the other one's red too. Are we getting any guesses yet on which one he is?
Oh, someone guessed Kensington.
Good job.
Kensington, we call him El Guapo, which in Spanish, that means like the handsome one because
he's really got that.
He's beautiful. And I got Kensington as a 5-year-old in Europe. And when I got him, actually, he was like my 3rd pick. None of the other ones vetted. So he was my 3rd pick. I was very worried that I wasn't going to be able to collect his canter because he had like this ginormous canter that was totally out of balance and unorganized. But 5 years later, here we are getting ready for the Prix St. George I1. Hopefully we'll do some CDIs this year. And a little about Kensington, he's like the shyest, most introverted horse that you'll ever meet. Like, he's one of those horses, if you step towards him, he's like backing up. And
Or even just getting the halter on him right now. There was a noise and he took a step back, and I was just
yeah,
like, it's okay.
yeah.
Got to go really slow around him.
So most of my horses, I don't like to hand feed. But with Kensington, I actually sometimes I'll give him a cookie just so that he like has a little more confidence with coming up to me or coming towards me. So he's always been super shy, and it's been a little bit hard at times to train him. Like teaching him the flying changes was really hard because he had a giant canter, and also because if I would get after him, like if I would correct him from my leg, then he would get scared and kind of hold his breath and panic instead of just accepting the correction. And that's one thing I really learned from Kensington is that, and Herman's helped me a lot too, is that I have to be a bit more patient with like taking the time to explain something to him and not overreacting.
Don't
or
overstimulate him because he gets inside himself.
and
You
he
really
gets
got to be
scared.
patient and let it grow out of him.
Yeah.
And if you hurry it, it just doesn't come.
And the
So,
thing is, if your horse gets scared,
nothing
then
good's going to
they
happen.
can't learn anymore. Kane has another question for us.
How tall is he?
How tall is
Ooh,
Kensington?
17,
I
1,
would say,
2.
yeah, 17, 1.
He's 17 plus anyway.
I don't know. I don't really like to put this stick on them because then you
Because
know.
then there's this number there. Yeah, they're just horses. We ride them. They're
Yeah.
big, they're small.
Yeah. But he's big, but he's really short coupled and uphill. So it's not like a lot to put together. Like he doesn't feel like a lot of horse to ride.
And that's the other thing that's a big good point. It doesn't really matter how big they are. Like the mare, Violina, we're calling her Cutie because she's very cute. She's light off the ground.
Yeah.
So
And coordinated and balanced. I think.
Right. So it's not like you're trying to move a semi. You know, they're light, they're off the ground, so they don't. It's not like you're dragging something around the arena, even though they're big.
All right, who's this? Any guesses?
Should I
Who's
take
this
him
one?
back then?
No, we'll admire their twinness. Who else are we missing? I think we've done everyone that's in the videos.
Yeah.
We have some
We
other.
mentioned Tico.
Yeah, Tico.
Oh,
we didn't bring
we
him
could
out.
bring Tico out.
We can get Tico out. He's in a lot of videos. Everybody loves
Has
Tico.
anyone guessed who this is yet? This is the sweetest one. He's so sweet.
Harvey.
Yes, Harvey.
Harvey. He is the sweetest one. And so it's so funny because I got Harvey first. Harvey's 11. I got them both when they were 5, but Harvey's 11 and no, Harvey's 12 and he's 10 now. So when I went to look at horses, I posted a picture of Kensington before like I knew he was Kensington or I got him. And someone said, "Oh, it's like twins." And so then it ended up that I have these 2 horses and they literally look like twins. Even though I don't particularly like it wasn't intentional. I don't like chestnuts and I didn't pick
the best
them.
color is good gaits.
Yeah. Or how about good temperament?
Yeah, temperament.
Kane's raising her hand.
What breed are both?
What breed are both of them? They're both Dutch warm bloods. So they're both from Holland. They both came here on a plane, which is kind of crazy that we can put horses on
that they go on an airplane, that they'll
and
just
ship
get on
them
an
over.
airplane.
But Harvey is definitely, I would say Harvey is my heart horse. Like we all have a horse that's just like your heart horse that
Yeah,
you
we
just,
were talking about heart horse
Oh, yeah.
last night. I learned a new term. I've never heard
what's the
that.
definition of it? It's like your
soulmate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Harvey is definitely that for me. He's a good boy. He's very, very sweet. Both of them are shy. I would say both of these horses, they're like sensitive and shy and hot. Neither one of them is like pushy or bold. I wouldn't describe them as that. I would describe them as shy and sensitive. And what else should we tell about? Harvey's done the Grand Prix and he's a good boy.
So that's, yes.
That's them.
He's not he's not 100% at the moment.
Yeah, which is sad. So
It's
'cause
heartbreaking.
he had 2 surgeries last year on his pull. On the other side, he had like a cyst, basically. They removed it, and then he
But
was
it
good
took,
for a
like,
while.
It took like 3 surgeries, and he was good for a little
And
bit.
now
But now
he's
there's
not.
a lot of scar tissue
Yeah.
that's developing there, and so we're doing some more research on that. But the scar tissue is definitely having an impact. So right after the
Yeah.
surgery, it was all right, but the scar tissue is having a problem. So
he might have to go live in Colorado in the pasture at my mom's for a while. My mom has a ranch in Colorado, so sometimes I find, like, if your horse is lame or they're having a hard time, sometimes the best thing to do for them is to just
Deco.
like turn them out and let them be a horse for a year and then try to bring them back, because I don't really know what's wrong with Harvey, but I feel like maybe if I just give him like that time off, then he'll come back. Because I was trying to ride him for a while and he's not so happy. So he's like semi on vacation. We've been doing a lot of hand walking and just hanging out, but he definitely is the sweetest horse ever, the best horse ever. And Harvey loves to get scratched. Like, he loves to have his withers scratched. Like, you can see if I scratch him, how he starts to move his lips. And he also loves having his ears rubbed. He's just like the sweetest horse. And I always like to spend time with my horses and figure out, you know, where they like to be scratched, where they like to be loved on, because I think it feels good to them to have these scratches. All right, I'm getting a hand raise over there. Which one was easier to train? Harvey was easier to train. Kensington, I learned a lot training Kensington. I'm still learning a lot training Kensington. But Harvey was more straightforward to train, and like physically everything was easier for him, and emotionally Harvey's a bit more secure in himself than Kensington. So Kensington was hard because physically he moves so big, and then sometimes when he moves really big, he actually like scares himself and panics himself. And the other thing about Kensington is sometimes he'll feel dull. Like, if I give him a little bump with my leg, he won't react externally, but internally he'll get like upset about it. And so Harvey is a bit more I wouldn't describe him as overly extroverted, but more than Kensington. So I get more of like an honest read from Harvey, or an honest reaction from Harvey. But I think every horse you learn something from. Like, Harvey's always been more difficult in the connection, and Kensington's always been like easier in the connection. So I think you learn something from every horse, and then that's what makes you a good rider or a good trainer, is when you're able to work with any horse, and when you're able to figure out what works best for that horse, or how you need to change, or like change the approach a little bit based on what your horse needs. And for me, that's what I love about riding. We actually I interviewed Ingrid Klimke and earlier this week for Stride students, and I asked her at the end, like, what's your best advice for amateur riders? And she was like, love your horses, enjoy your horses, cherish the connection that you have with your horse, be fully present with your horse. And I was like, that's really good advice, I think, for everyone, whether you're a professional or an amateur, is that just to cherish that connection. Come on, I'll let you introduce our next
star,
beautiful
Tico.
chestnut.
Tico's done a bunch of videos now. Hi, buddy.
I like I think this is really cool. I think our clients got these when we went to Aachen when we were in Europe, but there are these little things on the noseband that say their name, which I think is so cute.
Yeah, they all got one because Elior has one as well. So he's 20 now, and he's been trained up to the
Hello.
I1. What's that?
Adrian's saying hi. We're doing a live meet and greet. You can wave to the camera.
So wave to the camera.
Or you can hide if you don't want to be on live.
And are the boots that he's wearing, are they in the camera?
Hi.
Well, no, they're in. So he
He gets
right,
bed sores.
he gets bed sores, and so that's what he wears on his feet. And it was odd because the big part goes to the top, the small part's on the bottom, and it keeps his hair in place. And he's been really great. Again, Chestnut, he's a little hot, a little spicy, and so, you know, but Kathy's a bold person, and so that fits. It's working. You know, if the rider wasn't a little more confident, a little bold, it'd be a tough horse to learn on.
But you also do a good job, I think, when you're teaching. You like give her that confidence, like do this, do that, bend him, turn him. I think that's important.
I'm big on what to do. Give them something to do.
Yeah.
Right. Take an action. And then with that action, you'll get results. And if you like those results, you can continue in that action.
You haven't watched the Ingrid interview
not.
yet, but I asked Ingrid. So I asked her, like, what have you ever been afraid, and what do you do to overcome if you're afraid on a horse? And she basically said, she was like, don't get on if you're afraid, like, and especially don't go cross country if you're afraid. She said, when you get on, you better be confident, because if you're afraid, your horse feels that and your horse senses that. And then she also said, she's like, if it's a horse that like is a crazy bucker or rear, she's like, I don't ride it anymore, because I don't, you know, like, know your limits, know what you're capable of. And then when you get on, have that confidence. And if that means that you need your trainer to ride your horse first, or you need to do groundwork first, or if today's not your day, that's okay. But you do, when you get on, you have to have that confidence.
Right, because your horse doesn't know that he's the reason for your fear. He just feels your fear, and he knows what to do when things are scary. Run, and run fast. And then the rider says, no, don't do that. And now you're fighting. And so that's why you've got to be right in the head before you even get on.
But I also think there's some horses that are more tolerant of riders that are a little fearful. Like, for example, we showed you earlier Mercurio or Jacques or Natasha. Like, those are horses that are able to tolerate riders that are a bit more timid.
Right.
Whereas, yeah, like our redheads here.
None of the redheads have been proven that they're.
So what that means is that if you're a rider that's a bit more timid, that's nothing wrong with that. But
get a horse to match.
Right.
Get a horse that's suited for your skill level, your confidence level.
And that's one thing you always say is, like, you need to be able to walk, track, canter that horse. Otherwise, you're buying a trainer for your horse. Isn't that
right? You're buying me a job, right? And that's the other thing too. And you know, you're buying a horse for the future, and you know this horse is going to take you somewhere. If you can't ride that horse today, that's not the horse for you. Don't buy me a job.
We do have, just reminded me, we have a very funny blooper of Tico and Natasha. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
So we were doing a video of how to ride together, like with other riders.
Right, the rules of the road.
I was on Natasha, who we now know is pregnant. He was on Tico, and like Tico stuck his head over to say hi.
Well, we had gotten close to each other to try to do the introduction. And then he was just like, hey, honey. And she about took off his head.
No, she didn't. She just squealed at him.
Squealed, and she raised a leg.
No, did she?
She did. Yeah, I'm getting confirmed. I thought there was a leg raise, and Tico was out of there, and then he wouldn't get within 30 feet of her.
Yeah, and then the rest of our video was spent trying to get them close enough together that we could actually, like,
but she had explained to him that she doesn't like his kind. And
she explained that she was already taken and she didn't need any
anymore. So yeah, that's, you know, you want to be able to ride the horse you have. Don't buy that horse if you can't, because you're buying me a job. And you want to be able to enjoy your horse today, because there is only today. And I'm trying to get to that with my mare too, and not worry about, oh my God, what could happen later and what could go wrong. Today everything's fine, and I got to get right with that.
Yes.
Yes, I do.
Good advice.
Yes, I do. Well, I'm in the middle of that myself.
Are there any more questions before our plan for today? We're going to go take the tarps off. So when it rains here, we have these giant tarps that we put over the arenas, because our footing, we have GGT footing, which is great in the summer because it holds the water. not great in the winter because it holds the water.
Right, exactly.
So
So we're
we-
having this meet and greet because we can't get on the horses because we're not taking the tarp up until later. So here we are with
So-
this and not doing the rider position, which we were going to do. We'll have to do that at a later date.
anyways, happy Valentine's Day. I hope you enjoyed meeting all the horses in our barn. And yeah, have a great rest of your day. Thank you, Kane, for videoing.